Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a student right now, or maybe a parent just trying to help out, I know exactly how heavy the pressure feels when you're staring down career choices. It's like there's this massive, overwhelming expectation to follow one specific, incredibly crowded path, right? Well, today we're going to break down the whole engineering obsession here in India. We'll look at the ground realities, the hard data, and honestly the hidden systems running the show behind the scenes, all in plain, simple terms. So let's peel back the layers of this together, shall we?
Okay, let's dive straight into this. Get this, by 2026, we're looking at roughly 13 lakh students sitting for a single exam, battling it out for just 15,000 seats in top engineering colleges. I mean, do the math. That is an acceptance rate of literally just 1%. 1%! Honestly, that number alone totally validates the intense, suffocating pressure you might be feeling right now. India is absolutely obsessed with engineering, and when you're fighting for a fraction of a percent of a chance, well, it's no wonder stress levels are completely off the charts. But to really understand why this whole thing feels so broken, we've got to look at the human element.
Which brings us to Section 1, the student experience. Let's take a look at a student we'll call Suraj.
Suraj here represents millions of bright kids carrying the huge hopes of their parents. So what's the natural next step for someone like him? Boom, enroll in a coaching center for the JEE. But look at this standard formula he's pushed into. Step 1 is coaching. Step 2, and this one is really concerning honestly, is moving to a dummy school. The whole point of this is to completely isolate the student so that every single waking hour is spent preparing to ace one giant multiple-choice question exam. He loses his hobbies, he loses his friends. Think about it, in your school years, your personality grows by trying different things, right? Making mistakes. But when you are isolated and just obsessing over step 4, the exam, that chance to grow as a human is entirely stripped away.
And, this isolation has real tangible consequences. A Mercer employability report actually found that less than half of engineers have good communication or people skills. Less than half. Why? Well, because the MCQ exam system basically just teaches you to find patterns and pass tests. It totally fails to build curious, critical thinkers who know how to actually work with other human beings. The test itself isn't the villain here. It's the massive machine built around it that trains students to be basically test-taking robots instead of well-rounded people.
And this brilliantly illustrates the human cost of that giant machine. Suraj isn't just tired, he's buckling under crushing pressure from peers who are studying 24/7 and from parents investing heavily in crash courses. Look at this. 42% of students going through this process experience symptoms of anxiety, stress, and depression. And that's just the reported number. If you are a student watching this right now and you've ever felt that tightness in your chest, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. This is not a personal weakness. This is a systemic mental health issue baked right into the very fabric of this race.
So that leads us to Section 2, the systemic machine. If the students are struggling this much, who is actually winning?
If the student experience is so incredibly painful, who is driving this pressure cooker? Well, this number right here tells you everything you need to know. The coaching industry in India is worth a staggering $7 billion. That's billion with a B. And it's growing at over 10% every single year. This entire multi-billion-dollar empire is built pretty much entirely on the dreams of millions of students like Suraj. And frankly, it's running on the emotional and financial strain of middle-class families who are just desperate to give their kids a secure future.
So the crucial thing to understand here is how the financial mechanics of this machine actually work. A typical middle-class family might invest roughly 23 lakh rupees just chasing this one single engineering dream. That is a massive emotional and financial toll. Now, to justify these juicy fees, institutions aggressively sell high placement expectations. They sell the dream of a massive salary package. And here's the real tragedy. Simply put, when your only focus is getting that dream package, it completely kills your natural curiosity. You stop learning because you want to build cool things, and you just learn how to pass an interview.
Let's put this into perspective and compare India to countries like Korea and China. Now, they also have incredibly competitive, stressful exams, for sure. But their systems focus heavily on research and development. In India, our goal is mostly financial. I'll get this huge package and then I'll be happy. Because we focus on making money rather than deep research, we lack advanced skills. Actually, this is exactly why India struggles to build a semiconductor base, even though we graduate millions of engineers. We want the sheer numbers, but the system just doesn't encourage the deep, innovative talent that actually drives global technology forward.
All right, let's move to Section 3, the campus placement reality. It's time to face the facts.
Let's fast forward 4 years. Imagine Suraj is sitting in his campus placement interview, mouth dry, feeling the immense weight of that 23 lakh rupee investment on his shoulders. We are all sold this grand expectation, guaranteed dream packages and ultimate success, exactly like the shiny brochures promised. But the reality? Only 45% of engineering graduates actually possess employable skills. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that if you're out there struggling to find a job, this totally validates you. This is a massive structural failure of the system, guys, not a personal failure on your part.
And the situation gets even more stark when we look at actual job offers. According to the Unstopped Talent Report, a staggering 83% of engineering grads pass out of college without a campus placement offer. Think about that, only 17% secure one. So why does this happen? Well, it's basic supply and demand. These institutions pump out a massive oversupply of students while relying on just a handful of major companies for hiring. When a few big players dictate the market and there's a literal sea of desperate students, it drastically drives down salaries and opportunities. Students just end up accepting jobs way below their expectations simply because the supply is way too high.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Finding Your True Path. Let's look at a really powerful alternative to all this madness.
Okay, so back to Suraj in his interview. He gets hit with a technical question and just completely freezes up. But an observant interviewer realizes something absolutely vital. Suraj doesn't actually want to do computer science. He's literally just following the herd. So, to help him out, the interviewer shares this amazing story about a friend who is a gardener engineer. This friend loved gardening and he loved engineering. So he combined his two passions to figure out the complex engineering required to build beautiful landscaped gardens at different heights on commercial buildings. The result? A company making almost 100 crores in revenue. He didn't follow the herd. He created a highly specific, super successful niche for himself.
It is so time to take control of your own story. You know, during his coaching days, Suraj actually loved electronic gadgets, but he completely suppressed it for the quote-unquote safe computer science route. Please don't do that. Identify what you genuinely love doing in your free time. And hey, don't worry if it doesn't seem instantly profitable right off the bat. Ignore the noise that tells you only one path is valid. True success actually comes from finding your own unique intersection of skills, just like that gardener engineer did.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one single, direct question. What are you truly good at? Seriously, not what your parents want, and definitely not what a $7 billion industry dictates. What do you naturally gravitate towards? Take a second, step off the treadmill, and reflect on your own genuine potential. Because honestly, when you finally find that thing, you won't be competing with 13 lakh people anymore. You'll be running a race where you are the only contestant. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it brought you some clarity and maybe a little peace of mind today.